always difficult being the last chat. I know everybody's very keen to go, but I was told that this announcement is so big, they're saving the best for last. I guess that's what it's about, Jayanth?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And the last panel was, is Cosmos dead? I'm looking at this room, it's definitely not dead. So I'm glad to be here. And one of the things I wanted to share with everyone and what we've been building for a long period of time.
Before we share it, first of all, how long have you guys been, I know this announcement's a long time in the making, so how long have you guys been crafting every single day with one mission in mind? How long has this been?
It depends on who you ask. If I think back to where the idea came from, it's probably been a decade of thinking on my side and maybe a decade from John as well, thinking about how to make this a reality. With Mantra, it's been about 4 years that we've been building it. Crafting away at this specific announcement, it's coming up on 18 months now.
All right, so, I mean, you've kept us in suspense. We've been here for a few days. Announcement. Over to you, sir. What is the big announcement?
So let me just put it this way. The first block of the rest of my life has already been mined. And I want you in this room over here to know that Mantra's mainnet is now live. And with the mainnet coming live, it just seems like, we flipped a button and then it's come online. But that's not the case. It's been a long period of time that we've been building. A lot of partners, a lot of you in the room have been able to get to where we are. A lot of people like you, Ran, have been helpful in getting the message out there. Because just like the previous panel, it's not enough that you build it. You also have to tell them that you've come and built it.
So I have to ask you a few questions. So launching a blockchain today just sounds so complicated. Why do it? You've got Solana, you've got Sui, they're experts in running blockchains. Their blocks are coming out fast, they're validators. Why launch a blockchain? What is it that you guys needed to build that wasn't already freely available on any other blockchain?
So this is where I think it comes down to a little bit more of a philosophical question. I love Solana, I love Ethereum. It's not that they're not suited for some of the things that we're doing.
I don't love Ethereum that much, but yes, okay.
All right, fine. I don't mind Ethereum, I don't mind Solana either, but I realize that for what we're building over here specifically, there isn't a solution that exists out there. Because like we've talked about in the past, it's not just about cannibalizing the same users. We need new users that are coming on board. New users don't care about being their own dApps. One of the pitch competitions was account abstraction. You want to abstract away that complexity. The other thing is you want a safe environment for institutional capital also to now come in and deploy. Now, a general purpose blockchain is not necessarily focused on trying to keep it safe and secure and compliant and regulatory secure and go forward. That's why we needed to have our own RWA ledger of record, because within this, we have the benefit of knowing who your counterparties are and ensuring that you're safe in all the transactions that you do, while also taking advantage of the composability that crypto has to offer. Because without composability, it's just an over-engineered Excel sheet. So for this specific solution, there wasn't a chain that existed. So we thought, why not build it ourselves? And that's where we are.
And what accompanies this chain? I mean, okay, so you have a chain.
Yep.
I'm assuming since you need to be regulatory compliant, there's an identity layer that needs to happen. What else comes with this chain?
So, well, to start off with, the chain comes with the fact that we're working with modules and not with smart contracts, meaning that when there are changes that happen in a particular part of the technology, it benefits the entire ecosystem as opposed to a smart contract, which has different implementations. So from that approach, one change, many things that can also have a carry-on effect. And specifically, what you can come think of in what we're doing along with this chain over here is that the bridge is now live. You can take your own from Ethereum, bring it onto Mantra mainnet, stake it to start earning a yield. We have a lot of other partners and dApps that are coming on board as well that believe in this future of compliant crypto and a pragmatic blockchain that can bring the next wave of capital as well as the next wave of users on board.
All right, let's talk about the market for real-world assets. I did a show yesterday, actually, where I spoke about Mantra and I spoke about the market for real-world assets and how exciting it actually is. The way that I understand the market for real-world assets is you're putting an asset on the chain. So the asset has a value of, say, $10 million. You have $10 million on the chain. Layer 2 is the spot trading around the asset. And you can trade the spot asset 1 million times, right? Like you can buy 0.1%. So you get spot trading. And layer 3 is derivatives around the asset. So I think you know where I'm going with this. You guys have launched the layer 1. I'm assuming that you're going to put a whole lot of assets on chain pretty soon.
Absolutely.
So I have two questions for you. When spot exchange and when derivatives exchange?
Oh, absolutely. Because like we've talked about in the past as well, the first step is bringing the supply on chain. So it is tokenizing assets and bringing it on chain. The next part of it is how do you trade in this? So think of it as the barter system on steroids in a trustless way, where earlier you and I only in a village could trade with each other 1,000 years ago. Now I can trade with the entire world because the world is my village, and that village now lives on Mantra chain.
So are we going to get a special exchange that allows us to trade real world assets? Or is it going to be like the Uniswaps of the world or whoever the DEXs of the world, existing DEXs allowing us to trade?
So essentially, like the existing DEXs of the world, I love them in my understanding of DeFi, but most users do not like the user experience. So what you can expect is once we bring these assets on chain, tokenize it, ensure that it's done in a manner in which that there's legal recourse in case something goes wrong. The next step is that you're able to trade this on an exchange that gives you as near the equivalent of a Web 2 experience, while also allowing you exposure to the rest of the world in terms of real-world assets.
And do the existing exchanges have sufficient compliance to allow people to trade fractionalized real-world assets?
So the way that we're looking at it right now is that it's going to be a multi-cycle approach. There are jurisdictions like Dubai that are telling us how we can go ahead and regulate all of these activities. So we start off over here. And then as the regulation comes into place, having a layer 1 blockchain, we have a sovereign validator set that allows us to be able to comply with things as they develop. So we're developing along with the regulatory ecosystem. And as that becomes more sophisticated, so do the products that we bring on chain.
When you say you're developing with the regulatory system, the regulatory system in different countries is very different.
Yep.
Is there a reason why you are working closely with the Dubai regulators? I mean, why didn't you go with the US? Why didn't you go with Europe? Why didn't you go with Korea? Why didn't you go with Japan?
So let me put it this way. Depending on who you ask, there's 190-something countries in the world.
Yeah.
It's hard to go to every single country and have the specific compliance requirements that you need to be able to tokenize assets because it has different levels of countries also in terms of their adoption. So the way that we built it is that we have a framework that's robust that allows any country's requirements because compliance is like exhaustive in some way, right? That are agile and capable of giving direction and being the leaders going forward. And eventually the rest of the world follows. Because at some point in time, we're going to come up with a single framework that allows all of these assets to come on chain. So whether it's Dubai or whether it's the US or whether it's anyone else, they have different reasons as to why they're slowing down. But then we know that we need to start from wherever the early adopters are. So we're here.
How has it been working with the regulators, honestly? I can't imagine trying to work with the regulators in the United States. If I went to Europe, I can't even imagine which regulators I would engage. How has it been with Dubai? But tell me honestly,
Absolutely, man. I'll tell you, regulators in most other places, the reason that things take so long is that they never reply to your emails. In Dubai, you always get a response. And if there is a lack of clarity in some place, they will be transparent about what requirements are needed from you to be able to take the next step forward. So this kind of pragmatic approach is why we're building a pragmatic chain and operating in a jurisdiction that allows us to take that next step towards the missing link in finance.
I have two more questions for you, then I'm going to let you go. So you guys have done a great job with some amazing partners in creating hype for your mainnet. What's next?
Exactly.
What's next? I mean, you guys have ridden the wave of the mainnet launch. You've squeezed all the juice out of that lemon. What's next?
So building the chain and grafting for how many ever years that we've grafted is only to get to the starting line because the journey begins just now. So mainnet is like the canvas upon which we're going to actually build this financial future on chain. So it starts off with bringing assets on chain from institutions that are crypto forward, and there are more and more coming on chain. The next step is providing liquidity for these assets so that regular retail users are able to trade this entire ecosystem. And the final step of this is actually making sure that we reach an ecosystem in which the user doesn't even realize that there's blockchain at the back. They just know that click button, get token. That's the future that we're building towards.
All right, so let's get the most important question of the day. I think it's the question that everyone here has been wanting to ask. When after party, sir?
Oh, that's exactly. I mean, I think given the fact that it's been 3 days of absolutely crazy developers and amazing builders in this space, I think we all deserve to blow off some steam. So 25 hours hotel, come to the after party, and honestly, let's get a few drinks and chat a little bit more, because I think there's been a lot of serious conversation, and we all owe it to ourselves.
What time is this after party?
It starts at 8, and then it goes on for the rest of the evening.
All right, guys, so that's the official after party. I also think with that, a round of applause, first of all, to Sito again, who is doing the work of an entire foundation with a very small team, an unfunded team. I think a big standing round of applause for this man. And I think anyone who's building on Cosmos or using any kind of Cosmos technology is indebted to this. And then lastly, a big round of applause to all of you guys. I must say, I've walked the halls here. I've met amazing people. I always say that the brain power per square foot at a conference is how you tell if the conference is going to succeed, if the ecosystem is going to succeed or not. And I must say, the brain power here has been absolutely amazing. So well done, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Ran. And just one last thing I want to say to everyone that's building over here. If you are developers and you've been building through the bear market, guys, I have absolute support for you, and I hope all of you have therapists, because this is crazy to be building in this kind of an environment. The bull market starts now. The philosophy that allows us to grow begins from here, and that's how Mantra is bringing on board the next wave of builders.